Welcome to my art channel, Foxes. Sorry for the late video, but this one took a while. So I'm just using this really thick cardboard to make the base, and I'm putting sections together to make it fit perfectly on the shelf. And I'm going to paint the whole thing brown to be the base for the dirt. And then I'm just using some styrofoam egg carton pieces that I cut out into shapes, like different sizes of rocks and stuff, to make some stone pathways for my little town. I'm going to fill in these pathways off camera because it'll take way too long. And then I'm making some stairs with some cardboard, and I'm going to cover them in the foam pieces to be like rock too. And then I'm going to do a base layer of black. And then I'm going to dry brush on a lighter gray to give it some texture and highlights. And then I'm going to go over everything with a layer of Mod Podge and some small rocky sand stuff to look like the dirt. And then I'm going to glue some rocks onto this little edge here to be like the side of kind of a cliff kind of thing, I guess. It's a small cliff, but sure. And I'm doing another smaller layer of rock to fill in all the little gaps. And now I'm going to make a cool Halloween water fountain. I think this came out my favorite out of everything I made for the Halloween town. I'm using a piece of foam board from the Dollar Tree to make it. And I'm using a big pointy needle to make some stone texture on it to look like different stones. And then I'm just hot gluing them onto a cardboard base. And then I'm just cutting out some small squares to be like the tower part that the statues are gonna sit on top of. And then I'm going to use this little styrofoam pumpkin as one of the statues, and I'm going to carve out a face as best I can with this styrofoam. It kind of started falling apart. If I couldn't get too detailed with the cut. And then I'm using the skulls also and cutting out the mouth. And then now I'm going to glue everything with a layer of Mod Podge with some black paint in it. And then I'm going to go over everything with a layer of light gray paint. And then I'm going to use this clear packaging to kind of help raise up where the water level is going to be, so it actually looks like it's full of water. And then I'm going to fill it full of hot glue. And then I'm going to take a darker gray paint and go over just where like the rocks would be in here and keep the grout the lighter color. And then I'm going to go over the pumpkin and the skulls with this gray color as well. And then I thought it would be more fun to have the water in this Halloween fountain be green. So it's going to be a bright green. And then I'm going to glue the skulls and the pumpkin for where the water feature is going to be. And now I'm going to dry brush a lighter gray on everything just to make it look more stone-like. And then I'm going to go over it all with a wash of black. And then I'm going to use some strips of that plastic packaging to help hold up the hot glue for the water drips that are going to be coming out of the mouths. And then I got to paint that dripping water green as well. And I found this cool branch thing at the Dollar Tree. I hot glued it onto a piece of cardboard and I glued some rocks in to help steady it, and I'm going to just go over it with some brown paint to make it look like a dead tree. And I have some zombies that I had painted a long time ago, but I wanted to make a little witch and a little werewolf to also go in my Halloween town. So I'm using this zombie as a measurement to know how tall to make them. And then I'm just using wire arm to make an armature for the clay to go on top of. And then I'm just using the clay to kind of make the rough shapes for the witch and for the werewolf. And then I also wanted to make some like giant man-eating plants or They kind of look like Venus flytraps. So I'm just using a foil base that I'm going to make the like heads and then the like stem parts and glue those together at the bottom. And then I'm going to cover them in a layer of clay and make some lips so I can stick the teeth into later. And then the teeth were just pre-baked pieces of really skinny, thin clay that I baked just for a little bit so that I could get them hard enough so that I could stick them in the unbaked clay. And I'm going to go over them with a layer of green, and then I'll go in with some dark green just to make it have some variation of color in the stems. And I'm going to put red inside the mouth. Then I'm going to go in with yellow to brighten up around the mouths and on the top of the head a little bit. And then I'm going to go over all the little teeth with an off-white color. And then to finish them off, I'm going to glue on some plastic leaves so that they have some foliage too. And then I'm going to paint the legs and the feet of the witch black, like for her shoes, and do a layer of gray on the werewolf. And then do a skin tone on the witch also. Then I went in with a little black for in the mouth, the ears, little eyes, and like nails for the wolf, and the little eyeballs for the witch, and a little bit of a pink for the lips. And then I'm taking just some small pieces of fabric to make like a real easy dress for the witch. And making some cuts on the bottom so it looks kind of torn up a little bit. And then I'm going to go over with a layer of black to make the top skirt too. And then I'm going to use some small pieces of black to go up over her shoulders to make the top part of the dress. And then I'm gluing on a long piece of black acrylic yarn that I brushed out to be the hair. And then I made this, it's kind of tall, but a little witch hat. And then for my werewolf, I'm going to use this gray yarn, and I tie it in knots, and then I brush it out with it's called a slicker brush, a wire pin brush, to help separate all the fibers. And if you want it to be like sleek, kind of human hair, you can straighten it also, and that'll make it shiny. But I didn't need it to be like that, so I just cut off small strips of it and glued it onto the wolf. And I'm leaving it off the like arms, the bottom parts of the arms and feet, because I'm going to make some flocking for that out of the yarn. And here I'm making some yarn wefts for the tail, because that'll make it easier to put it on. Here I'm putting on the flocking, which is just very finely pieces of the trimmed brush out yarn that I made earlier. And then I'm just using the scissors to trim it up and shape it a bit. Then I'm gluing the yarn wefts on the tail with hot glue for that, because it was easier to work with since it dries so much faster. And then I'm just trimming and brushing off some of the excess flocking. And then I also did a little flocking on his nose. And then I glued on some little teeth, and I used black to paint the nose and the eyes again. And here's how he looks finished. And this is how the Halloween town looks all together, with some things that I've had for a long time, like that castle ruins. I would like to make another house to go there, but for now that's what's going to be there. And then this cool witch house over here that I made a long time ago too. And there's just some like trees from like a Christmas town thing, but I took all the snow off of them. Some little pumpkins that I made, like a little toy well over there for the witch. Just a bunch of different random things that I already had at home that I thought would go good in this. And I did put lights inside the house, just a little LED candle lights. And I'll show you how it looks without the lights on, so you can see all the lights inside the houses. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more art videos.